I'd like to welcome you all, those of you who are in the room, in the center here in Washoe Valley, those of you who are watching from around the world. And this will also be video recorded and sent to the entire Sangha, which is hundreds of people. So we who are watching it now are a fraction of who will actually be participating in this event in different times. Now, if you watched a few weeks ago, this has been called and was called the year-end fundraiser. But so much has been going on here that is in ferment and real change that the title of this event has, and the structure of this event has been changed, and it's now, as you see, Invitation to the New Dharma Fellowship. And what we're going to explore in part today is what those words mean. And this is not just a shuffling of words and kind of putting on a different set of clothes. This is very fundamental to who we are and what we're doing and what Sat Shree is inviting us and challenging us to do. So with that brief introduction, let's take 2 minutes of silence, please, together.
So I'm going to be the speaker right now. They gave me 15 minutes, but we'll see. I just want to be clear that it's not my show. It's actually your show. It's really important to get this, because this is a timeless moment of now where we gather intentionally together in the recognition of a principle that's unspeakable, yet ancient, and the core of each one of us. So this is a demonstration. This is a manifestation. This is a showing of what was always there from the very beginning of my awakening, my realization of my work, such is my work in the formation of New Dharma. I told Satchmai this morning, I'm so full. Everything is here. Everything is here now for me When I went to India this year, it's been a hell of a year. So is the last 3, but this is especially so. I knew I wasn't going back. I knew there was no other place that Arunachala resides here. What is Arunachala? It's a massive stone that was carved through nature, probably before humanity came into existence, in which people in India walk around recognizing its auspicious presence as a symbol. Now it's not just a symbol, you have millions of people walking around this mountain. So it's something that humanity has created, at least in that part of the world, as a moving into relationship to something that's extraordinarily auspicious. What is auspicious? It's something that carries a possibility beyond what we know. Auspicious people are those who can bring forward something that's possible, that hasn't been available. I am right now surrounded by auspicious people. You are all auspicious people. It's funny how suspicious and auspicious are so close. But that would be how it is. The nature of the recognition of the whole of us is evidence of the truth that's come within us. I call it the Sat and the Asat. So Arunachala not only represents something ancient, it also represents something unmoving and unconscious. Matter of fact, inconscient itself. But we're something different. We're something that awakens that inconscience. We're something that awakens to the inconscience, and thereby the inconscience comes into existence through us. We are the leading edge. We are the soul of this physical world, just like we are the soul of our own bodies. We are the heart. We are the auspicious element that carries a possibility for the unfolding of an original intent that exists far older than Arunachala. So when I came here, there was this recognition that something had landed in me, despite all my knowing and all my experiences and all my teaching, that hadn't been there before. I owned the territory of my eternal nature as a person, and it owns me. It's the fulfillment of all devotion. It's the fulfillment of all longing. And what's there when I'm not in these moments with you is fully human. More fully human than any other phase of my life. In 11 days, I'll be entering the 4th quarter, the last phase of this life. That's the winter equinox, or winter solstice. That's the day I was born, 27 minutes after the transition. I am preparing, I'm moving into that last quarter of my life as a human being, but also as a divine being. So the first phase was, of course, the first 25 years of my life, as it is for all of us. We organize as a person. And then from 25 to 50, we bring that into our lives. The third phase is we complete and mature. We come to the fullness of what we've created, good or bad, high or low. And the last phase is we prepare ourselves for our transition. For most, it's a terminus, it seems. The end of the 4th quarter is the end, so it would seem, but it's not. This cycle, like the seasons, endlessly repeats until we break out of it, until we're something other than what we imagined ourselves to be. I'm an auspicious being. I'm surrounded now by auspicious beings. You will see today a demonstration of this new phase. It will not be me forward, it will be you forward. I don't need to step back. I'll be different, but it will be more powerful because you will have me. Your ability to enter into the next phase of your life, whatever phase of life you're in, will be empowered by the quality of what I carry. This possibility, the evidence that it's actually possible, is here before you. And as it is, when you come to that place for yourself, you will see it in others. We all carry an innate sacred principle worthy of respect, worthy of regard, no matter how shrouded or stuck one may be at whatever phase of their life. In this way, we are all equal and of the same substance. Now, what's unique today is addressing the practicalities of what is now unfolding. These are not just words that Robert's sharing, as he said. This is a fundamental handing over to you the responsibility of carrying what this mission is about into your lives with each other for the world. This mission at some point transitioned and it became for the world. Before, it was each person at a time. For me personally, I am working with each person at a time who is committed to manifesting this work. I will empower the quality of what they're becoming so that it can become theirs. This is my intent. On your part, it will be a commitment to engage and to contribute to the possibility that this is now bringing forward so that it may manifest. Not that it goes and gets absorbed and lost in the diffuseness of the times we are in, but to become like an Arunachala, become a stand for a principle and truth of existence, which is the foundation of what it is that can hold the unfolding of this transition that humanity is in. It too is in the last quarter. It too is preparing itself for something that has not been true in the previous quarters. We are in that time. We all have a responsibility. The invitation is to get engaged, to take action. Karma yoga is to commit yourself to actions aligned with your purpose. Our purpose is for humanity, but for each of us to become a more capable instrument and channel for these eternal realities to manifest through us, for others, to know for themselves. It takes everything. The little sacrifices that'll be asked for you today are just a small portion of what needs to be sacrificed in order to become evidence of that auspiciousness in your lives for others. So this is where my focus is. I'll be leaving this room in a minute or two. I leave it in your hands. The fate of this possibility, this new Dharma Fellowship. It won't be about me. be about you and each other and the world. That's my call. That's my invitation. And that's my intent. All right. So I bow to each one of you in the recognition of this principle that you carry, in recognition of the auspiciousness that's the truth of you. It is my wish for you to know this, not just as a human being, but as a divine being, so that you can know that you're worthy to be the means for the universe to find its voice, to manifest what it is in truth, so that it can come to this world. Namaste. I bow to you, O Supreme One. I give and have given all that I can. It's now in your hands.
Something we all saw just now is that Sat Shree has become extremely concise and distilled in what he wants to say to us and what he wants us to understand. He used to speak for 2 hours at a time, daily. And now you see how much can be communicated in a short time, because it's very clear what he's saying is it's on us now. But not in the sense of a burden or, now it's your turn, but basically he is saying we are prepared and we are ready to do something we have not done before. I've been going to events for years where he's urging people to step up and not just do things, action, but actually to claim what they are, to get out of the smallness. We all know what that means. We all know what diminishment feels like. And we all have a budding sense of something much, much bigger than that, that is who we really are. And what he is saying now is time to claim that. But what's interesting to me is he's saying it's time to claim that not as a mini Sat Shree, because we may not be that. We're very imperfect, we're flawed, we're vulnerable. But to actually claim what we do know and stand on that. And that's what we're doing together now here. And we're learning in this third pillar program, and which will be going out, filtering out to the entire Sangha. The change in emphasis. For me, it's rather sudden. It has been sudden. I came to these pillar programs and expecting to be just the good practitioner who does what he likes to do for himself and does his little bit and faces forward. And that's not what I walked into here. Quite the contrary. And I'm watching with alarm and satisfaction as this new requirement that's been put on me is changing me. And that's what Sat Shree is offering all of us, is to change and step up to whatever the next step is. Again, it's not like we need to or can step from being who we are into some exalted spiritual teacher. But he believes we have enough to be a force for what he is carrying, and to present that with enough integrity and reality to other people that they will get what they might otherwise get from Sat Shree himself. So what we're calling here the new Dharma is not just a cosmetic word change. It's a reality. And it's asking us to be a different kind of Sangha. Now, there are 5, you might call, hallmarks to this new Dharma. And today, each of us on the core team is going to be briefly talking about what those are. And so this is kind of a soft launch into the new Dharma, just a taste. Much more will be coming on and on and on as we grow into this. But the central themes of the new Dharma mission are the Guru principle, the Guru-disciple relationship, the fellowship, and this is the new term that we're using to describe who we are and how we are, the physical place, which is Washoe Valley, and manifestation, which is what we're doing individually and collectively now in a new way and with a different understanding, and ideally with a different kind of intensity and impact. So I invite you all to listen to this and to think about it, and then to share it with each other, because these are ideas that need to be repeated and repeated and reinforced. This is not something that we just turn on a dime and suddenly we're different. It's a different game now and a different level of engagement. So, did I introduce myself? I don't think I did. I'm Robert Stepson, and I'm the president of the board of directors at New Dharma and a member of the core team. And I thank you all for listening. Thank you.
Hello. Can you hear me now? Okay, great. All right. I'm Satsang E, and I'm a member of the New Dharma core team. And it is actually still New Dharma, but we like the word New Dharma, so we have fun with that. All right, so today I'm going to speak about fellowship. And I was looking on the screen to see who's here, and Karen or Radha was here on early days. So when I start speaking about this, hello, sweet pea, so good to see you. She'll remember what it was like. Is people came here to be with Sat Shree. That's the only reason they came. They came to live in a house with a bunch of other people they didn't know. We kind of had a house manager structure, and it developed over time, but it was really about coming here and being with Sat Shree. And oh my, have things changed. So I'm going to read my script here and adding to things. At the beginning of New Dharma, individuals came to be with Sat Shree as their teacher. New Dharma did not exist as a spiritual community, and that was never the intent, other than as a number of people living together in 3 houses here in Washoe Valley and 1 in Reno. From this emerged the residential program. So actually, the first house was my home, Chipmunk, and the second one was just down the street at 225 McClellan. So over the years, many people have come and gone. And today our residents are more mature individuals who still comes to be with Sat Shree, but they're also coming to be with those in the Sangha they feel connected to. That there is a community that has emerged as a fellowship out of all the work we've all been doing. And they all come because they're connected to the work of New Dharma and to Sat Shree. So today, New Dharma is a fellowship of students who have been trained and guided by Sat Shree to serve as his sanctioned representatives. So what he is doing now with the third pillar program, one of the parts of the third pillar is to prepare people to take over. And it's happening. So trained and guided by Sat Shree to serve as his sanctioned representatives to teach and entrain others in his transmission of the Sat force. So this fellowship or Sangha is at once a community, a support system, and a shared instrument of transformation that elevates all who enters it. Y'all feel elevated? Everybody's like, yes. Yeah, I mean, if you can survive third pillar program, he's laughing over here. It's very contagious for me if people laugh, I'll start laughing. If you survive the third pillar program, you're definitely elevated, that is for sure. But in a good way, you're grounded and elevated at the same time. Oops, we lost me. Okay. With students taking responsibility in expanding circles of influence, it sounds very nice. It is a living demonstration of the practicality and immediacy of Sat Shree's teachings and presence. While drawing the individual into a new degree of personal attainment, it places that attainment within the much larger context of service and purpose. So just, how much time do I have left on your timer? You didn't time me. Okay. You're just letting me speak freely. You're in trouble. Just very quickly. So obviously I've been here since the beginning. I've seen the community develop from people living in the house in Chipmunk, in the trailers in Chipmunk and other trailers that no longer exist, to sharing homes together, to the creation of 355 and Ethan. And I've seen in the last year an emerging of a fellowship that did not exist. There was the seeds were there, but something shifted. Sat Shree shifted, he had a stroke, and people stepped up. And this is probably, for me, the most joyous part of this whole process now, is that we do come together. He even encourages it. He goes, you guys need to do excursions together so you can spend time together. So that happens. People go on hikes, they go to meals, they watch movies together. They celebrate birthdays. So all of these things are very, it's very endearing and very special. And I think for me, because of that sense of community, there's an openness and that people are more drawn to than when it was just simply, I'm here for Sat Shree and I don't want anything else to do with the rest of you. So it's a big change. So anyway, Radha, come back. You'll have a lot. We cook in the kitchen. We do all kinds of really cool things now, which has nothing to do. This is all part of the spiritual process, though. You'd be surprised. All right. So thank you so much for being here today. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in Europe also this next year. All right. Namaste.
So I've been tasked with speaking to my role as operations manager, speaking to the principle of the guru, and speaking to the relationship of the student and the teacher. And they gave me 5 minutes, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with all the extra time. It's really there's a lot of joy in this building today. It birthed, something has definitely birthed, and it's been with me all this morning. But yes, it's an honor for me to sit here as the operations manager for this endeavor. that we are endeavoring to bring to fruition. It's remarkable. And I've been here for over 5 years, so I've seen quite a few changes myself. It is a new Dharma. I think it's appropriately named. As office manager, my role is simple. I show up every day and I do whatever is vacant and needs to be done. When anybody steps away, I step in. If the faucets aren't working, that's my role. If there's bills that need to be paid, that's my role. It's whatever is here in the moment. That's what I do. As far as the guru principle, you all know that we're in the last, or the last phase of this year's third pillar program. We've had 3 now. They've been remarkable in what's come about through these 3 pillars. It's almost unspeakable, other than that for myself personally, my relationship with the teacher has gone to a completely different level. It has blossomed into the universal as opposed to this concept of this one-in-one relationship. That's not right the word I'm looking for. Mentorship, that's there, but it's expanded. It's expanded hugely. That's already half the time. I did jot down a few notes. The third pillar is symbolic of that person who is unique in that they have traveled the full journey. The first pillar of birth, the second pillar of death. What we do in that period of time is an opportunity to develop. Now we all do this, right? We all have families, or we don't. We choose to go to another path. There's everything that we all do in this time between birth and death. But the opportunity for some who recognize it is to make incredible strides in your spiritual development. That is the principle that the guru represents, that the third pillar represents. So for myself, slotting into that role, my life is mostly done in terms of family and relationships and all that stuff. What's important to me is my relationship with my teacher and spending the rest of my time here in this incarnation, exploring that, developing that, discovering what's still in the way, what's still inhibiting me, preventing me from being as vulnerable and honest as I can be in any moment. I wrote 4 things, all with exclamation points. How rare, how infrequent, how many lifetimes to get to this opportunity to recognize, not only to get to the opportunity, but to recognize the opportunity to step into this relationship of a teacher and a student, one where I can get true and correct knowledge so that I can move, so that I can grow, so that I can be more. Watching the clock. One thing I want to read that I wrote this morning. The greatest compliment any of us can give to the teacher in the teacher-student relationship is to rise to the level of the teacher so that we can pay it back. There's nothing more sacred that we can do with our lives than be in this relationship, not only with the teacher, but in this fellowship that we are creating. The fellowship has taken me by surprise, in all honesty. I had no idea the joy that it would infuse into my system. I've pretty much been a very solitary, kind of lone wolf kind of person in my life. And even though I'm not always able to go into the kitchen and be with the group because I'm working on something, I hear the laughter. I hear the camaraderie that's coming out of the joint table around the prepping and eating and sharing around the food. And it's been rich. It has really opened me up. So I welcome you all. I invite you all to participate in this fellowship together. May it be so for you as well. Yeah. Thank you all. Wait for the camera, wait for the camera. Now you go. Oh.
It's good to see everyone online. Just taking a moment to look at all of you. My name is Jaya. I think I know everyone here. I'm a member of the New Dharma core team, and I support New Dharma's programs and events, and also the operation. My phone keeps popping up pictures of Washoe Valley over the years, and back to 8 years ago, the first time I came here. So it's been many years of participating with New Dharma and experiencing the evolution, the always changing nature of New Dharma. So I've asked about what is this new Dharma, because it always feels new to me. But there is something very special and unique happening that we're all experiencing and attempting to convey here today. And so I've been tasked in my remaining 3.5 minutes to talk about manifestation, which has always been a big tenet of Sat Shree's teachings, that the way that we make real our realization, the love and truth and awakened consciousness that's coming to us is by acting, and that we must act. We must bring that into the world consciously and deliberately. And that's always been part of his teachings, and he's always talked about how that responsibility will be handed to us. And he's trained us for years through the global training programs, through giving us opportunities to facilitate groups and programs. But it feels that this handing over of the manifestation is more full and complete right now. And this is evidence definitely in the third pillar programs, where we are all co-creating, and we use that word a lot, but we are all creating the program. We're all serving it in the practical ways, and we're also delivering the programs. We're delivering the talks. We're creating satsangs for each other. We're delivering the talks in the retreats. And I was thinking about how it's not the same when we do the talks as when Sat Shree does the talks, or when we give when we convey the teachings, but there's something totally new that's happening that's enriching me in a way that I didn't expect. Sat Shree always talks about how this teaching must come through multiple forms, and I feel like I got used to receiving his unique expression of it. And when we're all delivering the talks, I can receive each one's unique expression of this one truth. And when it comes through these different forms, it's like it enriches me in ways I didn't know that I long to be enriched. Different facets of myself maybe I couldn't find reflected in Sat Shree, I find reflected in each of you and all of you together. So there's a depth and a richness that comes when all of us together are becoming transmissions of this new consciousness. And for myself, learning to speak it, having that opportunity, trying to figure out for myself what I have received of these over these 8 years of coming and sitting and listening to Sat Shree. You know, what do I know? What has become mine? What can I speak to you, to all of you, to my friends, to my family? You know, what have I actually taken from this? And this opportunity to be called up, to be asked to speak the depth of my being, to speak what's true and what matters. That's what I feel like Sat Shree is handing to us. And that's the feeling I always get from him, and I get even more now. Robert talked about the brevity of how he's speaking, but I feel like he just wants us to get it. He just wants us to get what he has, and I feel that so intensively. So as Siddhartha said, the best thing that we can give, the greatest gift we can give to him, is to take what he's offered to us and manifest it, whatever manifestation looks like for us, whatever form that is. So I'll end by reading a quote from Sat Shree. This is not going to be fully able to be passed on, but what I can pass on is the quality of the knower that I am, the quality of consciousness that I am, to empower that which is already that in you, to strengthen it, to give it more authority, to give it the capacity to stand in this world and begin to manifest that truth that you've become in such a way that it becomes contagious. See, this isn't just spiritual education. This isn't a bunch of techniques or methods, which we have tons of anyway. It's transmission, transformation, manifestation. So he said this to us just a couple of weeks ago. Transmission, transformation, manifestation. So thank you all.
Namaste, everyone. You in the room I've seen so much, but I just felt to say your names online. So, hi, Julie and Eric. So good to see you. Lilia, so good to see you too. Patrice, so good to see you. Lina, you were here just a little while ago. And Anne also, so good to see you. Anna, we met in India just recently. Philip, long time ago, so good to see you. Becky, I just saw you this week, so good to see you too. And Sigrid, I will see you when I come home. Yemani, I also met this summer, so good to see you. And Shiva too. And Janet, I miss you here. And Sandra, oh, so good to see you. And Satyagita, you're here, but you're there. And Radha also, so good to see you. And Krista, I'm jealous. I also want to be on the beach. And Will, so good to see you. I've only seen you once, but it's good to see you again. Namaste. Okay. Yeah, one day I was sharing, I didn't know if I was going to be able to share because it felt like I was, becoming a squash ball or something. Now it's so apparent to me that what both Jaya shared about and Sat Shree also shared about, that the force of Sat Shree is here more than ever, is stronger than ever, and I experience it multiplied through everyone that's here. Although the form has stepped away, nothing of that which lives Sat Shree has stepped away. It's very much here, and I feel like I'm, this joy Sattata spoke to, it's this experience of a miracle that's here. And the fullness also, it's here with me too, because I'm in the end of my stay here. I've been here for 4 months now, and it's just, even in my wildest dreams, I could not ever imagine it to be like this. I can't go too far into that because I will turn into that thing. So I'm also part of the new Dharma core team that has been taking shape. And as Sat Shree said, he's supporting us who commit ourselves, and he's working closely with core teams and with us individually in that way. And we are in our way supporting his intent to manifest through that work, through being in core teams. Some of you are also in different core teams. And I'm also the treasurer of the New Dharma board, although Robert is the real treasurer. I have the title, but he's doing the work. Yeah, and I'm overseeing communications. I'm doing all kinds of small things that shows up. So this is my 3rd time in Washoe Valley, being here close to Sat Shree, and I've been in India with him too. And being close to him has been and is unlike anything I've ever experienced. Because I started participating when COVID came and everything was online, and there was so much transmission, and I was wowed. But then when I came here my first time in 2021, I realized, oh, this is another thing, this is another dimension to be close to him physically in this way. Because it reaches into the body. And one day here feels like a year. So 4 months, I don't know how long that is, but it's a long time. And one of my experiences has been being, this time Sat Shree mentioned Arunachala from India, the mountain. And for me, this time when I have been here, it is like I have experienced myself as that stability, that presence that mountain is, and that the undoing of the habit of the person, those structures that I've been so identified with in my, more familiar karmic life at home, that has a tighter grip than perhaps it has here. It has just been able to kind of flush on the, like the rims of the mountain. I've been able to hold it. I haven't done much. I've just organized myself enough to come here and show up to the things we do with people. But this pressure cooker that this place is, just stepping into it, it happens automatically because my body and my system remembers through Sat Shree's presence that, oh, that's what I am. Not all of that I thought I was. So it starts to recalibrate in a way. And I become the holder of that, the effects of that recalibration. But that's my experience of being here, and also the absolute rare, like Sattata said, possibility of having a teacher in a body. What that can do to me, because Sat Shree says it begins and ends with the body. And that's where the memory of all those things sit. Mm. And something that's been very apparent to me also this time is that I've had this longing for all my life that has been driving me, that I want to come home, or the just thing that just keeps pushing me further and further, and how it has showed up for me closer and closer to where I am now with Sat Shree and with all of you. And for some reason, this joy and this fullness of being in this miracle that is so tangible here, it's in one way a resolve of that. And now I feel like I just want to give back. I want everyone to be able to experience this. So it's like a self-giving that you've all spoke to in one way, that's for the world rather than just for myself or my not wanting to suffer, or my realization or my states or attainments or whatever. It's just this gift that's here that just wants to be circulated, it just wants to be given away. Yeah, so that to me is the possibility of the fellowship, the manifestation. I think that was it for me now. So many smiles.
So now you've met the core team, and I'd like to mention one member of the core team who is not here today, who is Natalie, who many of you know works in our office. And you've probably, many of you made phone calls to her, exchanged emails with her, or met her. So you can include her smiling face among us there now. Okay, we're going to spend the last segment of this event discussing what this event originally was going to be in its entirety, which is fundraising. We saved the best for last. During the Pillar program, we explored the Mother Book by Sri Aurobindo, and one group in particular addressed chapter 4, which is a chapter about money. And all of us were kind of plunged into a self-inquiry about how our programming in relation to money runs us, governs us, and what a higher level of understanding of the flow of money and what he calls the money power, how that might manifest in us. Now, I was wrestling a bit because a lot of those ideas about money being for the divine and us being stewards of money rather than owners, possessors of money, it sounded almost the same as prosperity consciousness as it exists out there. You know, the power, the secret, the law of attraction, the power of money. It's out there in many ways. And I've been asking myself, how is this different? How is Sri Aurobindo different? Is he different? And then it struck me that it struck me this morning that the difference is that the spiritual principles of money that are commonly found, I'll say out there, typically end in the individual. I get my prosperity. I'm in the flow. God loves me. You know, on, and there's all this goodness around it, but it doesn't have a concrete landing place. And perhaps it's assumed that each person is going to find that concrete landing place for their wonderful God-given prosperity. But what I understood this morning is that we have a concrete landing place. We have a real living teacher. And that concrete landing place is new Dharma. That's where our higher understanding and ability to govern money is meant to land. Now, I want to talk first about a practical dimension of this and then go back to I'll call it theoretical, but it isn't theoretical at all. The practical dimension of this is that New Dharma has a deficit budget in this coming year, 2024. We have a budget of about $2,500 a month that we're short. And I don't want to raise alarm about that because we have very solid assets. We have very promising programs, and we're not on the ropes financially, so please don't come away with that. But at the same time, in any budget, to have recurring, reliable revenue rather than programs that you hope will succeed would really make all the difference for us. And so we're initiating new programs, which Ajna Priti will talk about in more detail, and I'll just mention one of them is the recurring donor or monthly donor concept, which is that if Sat Shree is our teacher, your teacher, my teacher, we commit to making a monthly donation of $100 or more. Now, everybody has a practical budget in their mind for their personal financial survival, and that's necessary and good. But what's interesting is how we tend to then parcel out the different compartments of our money such that the guru, or what is actually dearest to us other than mere survival, it kind of gets its little piece. And there are a lot of other priorities perhaps that remain that maybe don't have to. So without going into more elaboration, I would ask each of us to consider our financial situation and what it would take to come up with $100 or more a month and to give that to New Dharma. For us to have that kind of input would make all the difference in our budget and in what we can do and do for ourselves and do for others. And I would also mention that New Dharma is in large part run by volunteers who are not receiving money. So this is a very important thing to consider when you look at New Dharma. Now, this reliability of having the money come in and the reliability of an individual giving it isn't entirely a financial matter. And this is part of the whole new Dharma, is that we're being asked now to be here for ourselves, among each other, in order to give something to ourselves and to others. And Sat Shree has said that your commitment is measured by your giving of time, energy, and financially. So what does money say? Money is a way of saying, I'm in. This is mine. I'm shoulder to shoulder with other people doing this. This is very important to me. I can count on myself to make this happen. I can count on other people to do this with me. And what's interesting is that all of that aligns us with higher things in a very concrete way. It's not like the money is this kind of little side wheel turning alongside the spiritual wheel that is turning and taking place in our psyche or in our being. The money is part and parcel of it. I mean, this is Earth. Earth is a money-driven place, particularly in the modern times. So it's interesting that we have a little I know, and I think it's common, a little cynical, logical side that thinks that it's in our best interest to keep it small, keep it modest, keep it safe. And what I'm feeling the push message from Sat Shree is, this isn't a play-safe life. This isn't a play-safe organization. And if it's going to work, it's going to take us doing something physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and financial together. And so when you think of the new Dharma as it develops in all of our minds together, I would urge you to think about money as being no more important, but certainly not less important than any of the other dimensions of however it is you conceive of yourself and new Dharma. I think we're all undergoing a revaluation of many things in our lives. And for me, being put in this role to talk about money is pushing me too. I hope you don't feel I'm speaking this to you from someone who kind of has it organized and made. I don't. So with that, I'm going to pass the microphone to Agnapriti, who's going to share with you some more details on this theme. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Yeah, this speaking about money, it always brings up some uncomfortability. And it's interesting because I'm watching the screen, and it's like when we're speaking about the purpose, it's like, and then when the money comes in, you know, it's like this restlessness starts coming in. And I think we all feel that. And something that has helped me a lot by being, you know, in meetings with Sat Shree, and we're speaking about all of these things, is that as this work takes another shape, New Dharma also becomes another type of platform that is, so its purpose is to support us. And now we're moving away from, you know, you showing up to a meditation or you're showing up to a program and then you just go back to everything. It is about transformation. It is about manifestation now. And then New Dharma needs to show up for that too. And then committing to time, attention, and money, it's included in that. It's not separated, because it is real that if we don't have money, we can't do simple things here. This thing cannot, so we can't close our eyes for that. And it would be a disrespect also to everyone, and like a misplaced compassion to say, oh no, you don't need to, if you're uncomfortable with money, please don't include that. You can continue as you did before. This is a reversed. It's a respecting of that within each of us that can organize more fully. I mean, for us that comes here, many of us, we pay double rents when we're here. We organize with work and all kinds of commitments. We take time, and it takes a lot of effort, and that effort creates an energy that infuses the whole group that we are here with, and ourselves too, and that gives something to the possibility that's created here. So it's also New Dharma as an organization stepping into being a platform for that possibility. So it's not just to ask for money, it's a saying, hey, you know, we believe in you as a greater version of yourself than you have been before, and a greater version of myself than I've been before. So that intent is also something that we are growing into as an organization. How can we support everyone that's part of it in a greater way than we have done before? And it might feel like a hard edge or something like that, but it's actually a reflection of a deeper love and a deeper recognition of what we all are. we that still are here, because we are not so many here now anymore that we were before. But we stayed and we went through things together, and we stayed for a reason. So it's a recognition of that. Practical details. So, as Robert said, we are also looking at the practical necessities and how to do things. And I think, Avi, I don't know if you have, there are links in the Zoom chat and also in Crowdcast for those that may participate from there, where you can just click and go directly if you feel today that you want to give. And this is a typical thing that we do. We have learned from Satsang, because she has been working a lot with fundraising. This is what you do in the fundraising, so we are doing that too. And then after, we will also send out an email with a link to where you can donate. And you can give a teacher donation, you can give a one-time donation, and you can also sign up to become a monthly donor. And this concept of being a monthly donor, this is something that we're gonna put more attention to this year. So some programs that New Dharma will do with Sat Shree will be exclusively only for monthly donors that donate $100 or more per month. Or the ones that are considered premium donors that donates $5,000 or more as a single donation. And that number might seem like, oh, $5,000, where did that come from? It's just something you came up with in the meeting, or what does it come from? But that's also a reflection of New Dharma stepping into another role, because there are people that have more money, that has a unique relationship with the money force, that's just looking for outlets of where can they become an instrument for the mother's creation through their relationship with money. So we want to give those an opportunity too to support this mission. And those numbers attract those people more than perhaps $100 a month. So it's a way for us to be inclusive, not exclusive. And how this will show up with the monthly donor is also now on the December 23rd, we will have our first monthly donor exclusive satsang. So there is some time for you to sign up if you want to do that, and you will need to commit to 1 year of $100 a month or more, or if you have already donated for a year as a minimum, to be invited to that. And then there is also a lot of different things within New Dharma that has been free up until now, like the Bhagavad Gita talks, the Motherhood talks, meditations with Sat Shree, and we're also looking at a way to include perhaps those. There's nothing decided as a part of that program, or that you need in some way to contribute to New Dharma to be able to get access to that. You know, and it's also this thing, perhaps this is not something to be said in a fundraiser, but if you don't want to give, if you don't feel that call to give, don't do it. Because New Dharma lives and breathes out of this self-giving, this divine principle within us that does that. So if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But if you want to, please do, because that is what makes this possible for all of us, and for us to open up to moving out of what you said, Robert, the sense that it's my money, because it's so wired into this primal, almost survival thing, that what will I do if I don't have this? And instead opening up to, okay, how can the mother's will happen through me as an instrument for this money force? So it's all part of the teachings, it's nothing is separate. I think that's it. Do you want to correct me or say something? Okay. 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 Yeah. Thank you, everyone, and for many more fun times ahead together. Mm.
I'd like to thank everyone who made the effort to come here this morning and to attend online. This was the first public demonstration to ourselves and to you and to each other of, I guess we're just going to keep calling it the new Dharma. Some of us didn't like that phrase because it sounds a little bit kind of like advertising jingle or something, but it's very real for us now. And one thing that occurred to me was that I know when the video of today's event is distributed, that I will not be watching myself, but I will want to watch that first maybe 10 or 15 minutes in which Sat Shree spoke, because that was the message really in a very laser-like nutshell of what I'm trying to do now to understand where we're going. And I would urge all of you, when you see the email, well, I don't want to watch an hour thing again, watch those first 10 minutes. I think they're going to be very helpful to us all. So thank you again, and I'd like to end with 2 minutes of shared silence and stillness and presence. Thank you. Namaste.